Good evening, all viewers. You already know what time of day it is. Actually, you don't, because it's our first night episode of Hold Down the Fort. This is episode 5, and we're back to bring you the best analysis on not only college football, not only the NFL, but soccer as well. And we're going to be adding some new segments soon. Please like, subscribe, leave some comments, thoughts. We're going to try to make this episode a bit more debate-oriented, even than the last one. So yeah, we're excited, and I think it'll be a good one. So let's get right to it.
But wait, before we do, I don't know if you noticed something different, but Michael, Vinay, and I are together, and unfortunately, Sam will not be joining us live for the near future because he is not a Gator. But yeah, the rest of us at the University of Florida are recording in our studio. Ready to provide as much content for you as possible. So I'm glad you could join us.
Prime time episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can get right into it. Let's talk about the college football playoff title game between the Georgia Bulldogs and the TCU lost their horn frogs, it appears.
I can't believe you just said that, bro.
Yeah, so Georgia beats TCU. Final score 65-7. Yeah, it's 6-5. Not 6 plus 5, not 6 times 5, 6-5, just 65 points. Let's talk about it. What are our biggest takeaways from this game? I guess we can't even really call it a game because it was more of a blowout. It was more of an embarrassment. What are our thoughts? Sam, I guess I'll start with you.
Yeah, this was an embarrassment of a game, really. I mean, Georgia just came out and dominated literally from the first snap, and the roll Jesuses did not roll. I guess you could say they got somewhat crucified in this game, even.
Oh, good one.
This was just an embarrassment. I stopped watching after halftime. And I love TCU.
Sam, you made it to halftime? I
did make it to halftime.
You see,
I sat through it and I made it to halftime.
I was watching, but I wasn't really watching because I knew that game was over from.
Really watching. I was going through TikTok most of it, but you know what? We sat there. I was rooting for TCU, and no shade. Like, they deserve to be there. You beat Michigan. You earned your spot. We can't shade them for that. But you got met up with a far superior opponent. And they did their thing. 65-7 is ridiculous, but there's just nothing you can do. Georgia was the better team, but TCU definitely earned their spot. Rohan, how about you? What are you thinking?
Listen, man, the underdog story could have gone only as far as it did. They did a good job to make it to the final, like you said, and beating Michigan was no easy task. And with that momentum, I just kind of felt something in the air, and I just got to continue to back the boys from TCU. But it didn't work out. Georgia obviously showed that they're the better team. They deserve to win the college football championship. It just really goes to show that the SEC is different, and it just means more. But yeah, my takeaway is that TCU looked pretty uncompetitive throughout the game, and Georgia just kind of dominated. What about you, Vinay? Any thoughts?
Well, I for one was really looking forward to seeing Max Duggan, Heisman finalist, in these stakes, in these circumstances, and see what level he could rise to. And I was appalled by how poor his performance was. So just a quick question for you guys. Don't need to get too deep into it, but was it just Max Duggan being terrible, or is the Georgia defense just that good?
I guess I'll go first.
It's the Georgia defense, 100%.
Oh, of course, Sam will go first too. Sam, go for it.
I mean, you guys can all jump in. I mean, I feel like this is a pretty simple question. I think Georgia's defense, Max Duggan is not a terrible quarterback. I mean, let's not pin this all on him as if Georgia does not have NFL prospects littered throughout that defense, and Kirby Smart is not a great defensive mind. So let's not pin this on the guy who doesn't really deserve it. Obviously, not his best game, but there's really only so much you can do when you're going up against such a superior schemed defense than what you were facing in Michigan and in the Big 12 the rest of the year. He played bad, but we can't just put this all on him. The O-line was injured and overwhelmed, and nothing went their way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm tempted to say, you can't even blame him because it was, the entire team looked like they didn't belong there. It was not just Max Duggan. Obviously didn't have the best of games, but that's what you expect when you play the number one defense in the country, who only allows 77 rush yards a game. what else could you ask for? I mean, like, I saw this coming as per my prediction in the game, 38-20. That was being so generous. I thought I was being generous then, and in hindsight, I was right. Sam and Rohan, I know y'all picked TCU to win, and thus for the near future, I will ask you to not make any more college football.
That's Rohan's fault. That's Rohan's fault.
Yeah.
I would
Also, you tell me not to take any ridiculous takes, but the ridiculous take that I took was the one that we made a wager on, and it's the one that I won. So when it counts, my bets do actually.
I asked to double or nothing with the Georgia TCU game, and you refused.
Dude, you're talking a lot of talk for the person with the lowest best bets.
Oh, a best bet shot, and we will get to that a little bit later.
I'm just saying I have the best ranking, and that means I cannot.
All right, all right. Honestly, fair play. Congratulations. But to switch topics real quick, back to the TCU stuff. We still have to decide on the punishment for the three gentlemen to my left and above me. We did get one comment on the last episode for a suggestion, which I kind of like, is for the boys to go out in their respective college towns and ask them some embarrassing questions to post on our TikToks.
I don't like interviews, so I can't do that one. Sorry.
Oh,
but,
really?
Yeah. Let's talk about the game, though. Let's talk about something more serious. I guess a follow-up question to this scenario is this game telling of a change that's needed to be made to the structure of college football, specifically the college football playoff? I mean, we saw a game that was not competitive at all. I mean, I can only imagine what the viewership numbers were at halftime of that game. I'm sure there was millions of people out there like Sam, couldn't watch it anymore. I kept it on in the background, but I also wasn't even watching. Like those types of games are not great for the sport, but I'm kind of in agreement with you, Sam. I think that TCU did deserve the spot. They had the resume. They deserved it more than Alabama. They played a better season. They had a better season than Alabama. And,
and they deserved it more than Michigan, because if Michigan can't beat them, we can't argue that they should be in the national championship.
Yeah, anyone saying that TCU did not deserve to be there, I completely disagree with for that same point. But it's a different question than when you're asking who deserves to make the playoff. It's not give me the four best teams. That's what I would like to see. That would be great. But ethically, you have to ask yourself what team had the best performance throughout the entirety of the season. And at the end of the day,
let me also say to that, if you're a fourth best team, if you're one of the four best teams, why not have one of the four best resumes? If your schedule is that easy and that simple, win the game.
Well, that's what I'm saying though, right? Like they can be a top.
Alabama's so good.
They can be a
beat
top.
Tennessee, beat LSU.
Okay, first of all, those are not easy teams to beat. This is the SEC we're talking about, and we know who Georgia is, especially after today. Second of all,
Alabama says they could have beat Georgia.
Second of all, I think we're actually in agreement, because I think that Alabama, if they were to play against TCU or Michigan, or maybe even Ohio State, Vegas would have them as a favorite in that game, and there's no denying that. And I agree. I would like to see that game too. It'd be a great game, but I do agree that TCU deserved to be there 100%. They had the better resume. They played better throughout the season, and it's because Alabama is a better team and they did not win those games that I don't think they deserved it as much as TCU. I'm in agreement with you. TCU should have been there. Vinay and Rohan. Thoughts?
Here, Vinny, go first.
I don't know. Just Max Duggan just rubbed me the wrong way at that performance.
I'm just a little over all this Bama talk, because we talk about Bama like they would have beat Georgia as if they didn't. They beat, two top 25 teams the whole year?
Sam,
Mississippi State and Texas are your best wins?
Sam,
and you think you can go into the national championship and win?
Sam, I'll ask you one question. Would the game of the Alabama-Georgia game have been 65-7?
No, obviously it would not have been 65-7, but could it have very well been 37-16, 37-17 like last year, a 20-30 point win? 100%. This is not the same Bama that we have seen in years past, but because of the name, we give them so much that they don't deserve, especially this year.
Well, look to their
I don't think they would have won. Could it have been a game? Yes, it could have been a game, 100%. But you know what? If you wanted the chance, you should have won your games, and that's all. LSU ended up with 4 losses. So
there is also an argument to be made that Alabama's resume is possibly better than TCU's. There is an argument.
No.
There is.
That's where you lose me. Because now we got to count that Michigan win. We got to count that Michigan win on TCU's resume.
I'm talking about going into the playoff.
I don't know, 1 loss to a team they already beat, and then both teams played Texas. TCU beat them handedly. Alabama barely beat them by 1, and their starting quarterback went out in the first quarter.
Yeah, but Alabama also didn't beat Baylor on a game-winning field goal, right? Like, these are things...
No, but they also, TCU also didn't lose twice on a 2-point conversion and a winning field goal.
The fact that it won, I don't know. Like, all right, this is also just a pointless argument because the playoff's already over. Georgia destroyed TCU.
Whatever. We'll see next year.
But back to that question I asked, though. Do we need structural changes in college football? Is the playoff a system that should stay as is, go back to 2 teams, or expand to more teams? What do y'all think? I guess, Sam, you could start since...
Well, we're already going to more teams, so I don't know what... what we're going for here, but...
What do you mean?
We've got more teams. I think it's a little too much, though. I think 8 teams is honestly the sweet spot. Like, I think that's where we should be.
Wait, sorry, just to clarify.
I think it'll make it more fun.
Just to clarify, you said that we're already going to get an expansion?
Well, we are getting expansion. It's coming in the next few years.
Well, it hasn't been. It's not been signed yet.
What do you mean?
Has that like a formal agreement been made to expand the playoffs?
Oh yeah, that's official.
To how many teams though?
It's coming in. It's slated for 2026, but the CFP wants to move it up to 2024 if the Rose Bowl can agree to some other terms. But no, we'll be getting a 12-team playoff. That's been confirmed. And I think that'll bring more parity to the sport. It gives more teams a chance to advertise themselves to recruits and transfer portals. Players.
I could be wrong.
I'm excited for that. I think that'll be a good move for the sport, honestly. I think 8 teams is better, but 12 works too. It's all fun for me, to be honest. It gives the chance for some Cinderella stories.
I see. I might have to disagree with that take of Cinderella stories.
It's very up in the air. Obviously, I understand it going the other way. That's just me. I just like parity. I like seeing more teams with a chance to compete that we're not used to seeing every year. But you could easily go the other way on that.
I like parity, but I also don't ever think that a 12 seed is going to win.
Yeah, no. I agree with you there. That's why I think it should be 8 teams.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm not going to throw hissy fit over 12.
How about y'all? What do you think?
I really don't really know much about this topic, so the current system is fine, I guess. But if there's a way to improve it, I see.
Okay. Thoughts?
We can't deny that while the final was a terrible, terrible game, by all means, the semifinals were extremely competitive, and I will say some of the greatest college football playoff games we've seen in a while. Those 2 semifinals were electric.
If not the best ever. If not the best.
Depending on what you like in college football.
So it took a drastic, snooze fest of a final to diminish the absolute craze that these semifinals had brought up. And I think that was really successful. I don't know if there's a ton of structural change that needs to be made, but I definitely agree that this one wasn't that bad. Parity was okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a 6-team playoff would be cool because then in this scenario we would have seen like Bama and Tennessee in there. The 1 and 2 seeds get a bye. I don't know. That would have been cool, but. Yeah, I guess we'll see where it goes. I'm also not sure that the 12-team playoff is confirmed. I don't know if I'm just forgetting.
No, it's slated for 2026. It's happening.
Okay.
What's not confirmed is whether we'll get it in 2024 or not, which we'll have to see.
Okay.
But it is. We are getting it down the road.
Okay. Basically, the next question that I have is. What is y'all's early championship prediction for next year in the college football playoff?
I'm just gonna put it out here. You already know. I love taking the underdogs. I'm actually gonna say the Florida Gators, and here's why.
Roll
the Gators, man. Listen, Sam. I know you're an opposition FSU fan, but just hear me out, all right?
Not even as an FSU fan. That's just funny as a football watcher.
Okay. So as a casual college football fan who just started watching the sport 2 years ago, I gotta say, the Gators really have made an impact on me, and I gotta
Graham Mertz, let's go.
I gotta back the boys. Billy Napier, 2nd-year head coach. A lot to prove, but after his first season, 6 for 6, coincidentally also went 6-6 in his first season with the Raging Cajuns. You know what happened here too?
11-2.
Yeah. So definitely some improvements to be made there. We have a lot of talent coming in. We have one of the best defenses in the country next year. And I think our schedule is like really easy. By the way.
I disagree.
I don't know. Like we were playing some like
Utah, Georgia, Tennessee. That's 3 right there.
I mean, yeah, those are like
LSU.
and FSU.
Don't include FSU.
FSU, LSU. Those are 2 more. You're already at 5. Let's focus on.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Sure. All right. Yeah. Their schedule is decent, but like
All right. His pick is the Florida Gators. Cool. And Sam, don't laugh too hard because I could make a pretty convincing argument as to why that would happen. Anyway, on a separate note,
Graham Mertz ain't winning their championship. Let's see what else happens.
My early pick to win the 2024 College Football Playoff Championship. Dang, 2024. It's the Alabama Crimson Tide, unfortunately. There's no way Nick Saban is going to let Bama be what it was this past year. You already know what Saban, like what time Saban's on. Like he's going to come back. It's revenge tour, revenge season. He's got so much talent on that roster. I think we forget how much talent they have on that roster. So much talent, and I get it. Georgia has a bunch of talent. A&M has a bunch of talent, right? But they don't have the coaching staff to match those other 2 programs I mentioned. But I don't know. I think the guys that are coming, even if Bryce Young is gone, I think they have just so much talent at quarterback in that quarterback room. Like at every single position, I have trouble finding holes. Even with the guys that are projected to go to the draft. I mean, they just have so much depth, and I just don't see a world in which Saban doesn't come back and make a statement, just like he did in the bowl game against Kansas State. So, that's my early pick. Vinay, you got one?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for me to say, sitting here, just a 2-minute walk away from the legendary Van Hill Griffin Stadium, to say anybody but the Florida Gators. But I will have to say I'm going to go with Tennessee. And, it pains me to say this, but I just think that offense they built there is something crazy. And, yes, major chink was placed in their season when Hendon Hooker went down. It's scary to think what happens if there's no chinks in that offense. And no one was really able to fully stifle them at their height.
Yeah, and I mean...
Except Georgia.
Okay, yeah, but also Joe Milton coming in has some of the best arm talent. Or not arm talent.
All right, he's getting really overrated, though. We got to calm down.
I mean, well, all right, he has a lot of power, or arm
He left
power,
Michigan for a reason.
Power. I mean, yeah, because you have J.J. McCarthy and Cade McNamara there. And
listen.
I'd rather
It's not a bad pick.
I'd rather go to Tennessee and be the confirmed second string than not.
Well, let's see if he even wins the job. I mean, Nico is on the bench competing, so we'll see.
I don't think Nico wins it that quickly. Maybe throughout the season
I
he
know,
wins
but
it.
we'll see. Like, there's a chance.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I forgot Nico was going there. But Sam, we'll
see that.
Who's your early pick?
All right, you guys ready for this bomb drop?
No, I don't.
Don't say FSU, bro.
Don't do it to me.
Nah, I'm trolling.
Okay.
I'm with Michael. It's Alabama.
Okay.
This recruiting class is completely loaded. Nick Saban he's on a mission right now. He's making a statement. 8 5-stars, I believe, possibly 7. I thought they got one more. But 7 or 8 5-stars, that's ridiculous. Flipping guys from everywhere, getting in the transfer portal, basically kicking out the guys he didn't want there, who went in the transfer portal somewhere else that weren't with what he wanted. But and I think Michael and I are going to do a way too early top 25 breakdown, so we'll talk about it more in there. But Alabama is the most QB sound going into next year of all these major powers. Georgia's losing Stetson Bennett, Ohio State losing C.J. Stroud. He hasn't declared yet, but we're assuming. Bama losing Bryce Young, obviously, but all these guys are losing everything. TCU losing Max Duggan for whatever that's worth. But I like the guys on Bama's QB room the most. They got Ty Simpson in there, talented young guy. Jalen Monroe showed he was capable. So we'll see what goes on there, but I think they're the most steady. I think they've retooled. Nick Saban's on a mission, and they just don't go this long without winning a national championship. So they're my pick. I'm with Michael. Bama's probably got this next year.
Yeah, and for me, it's not even this most recent recruiting class because those guys are just now coming in.
No, yeah, it's every year.
Every year. And yeah, they just continuing to rebuild. Bottom left. Anyway, the last question I have on the college football questionnaire on this kind of topic. What team do y'all think could be either surprisingly good or surprisingly bad next season? I will start with you, Sam, since let's go reverse order.
Are you ready for the bomb drop now?
Is it?
I'm trolling. I'm still trolling. We're gonna go on there. No, my pick is Oregon State. If you guys have been tuning in, you know that I've kind of become a fan of Oregon State for no reason over these last few weeks.
Wait, why though? Why though, huh?
Something like their uniforms are sick. I don't know.
Maybe
What are they? Are they the Beavers or something?
Maybe because they beat the Gators. Is that why?
No, because look, I was on them before that. I was on them during the Oregon game, so I was on them.
We'll let them slide.
What is their last?
No, I love their defense. They're a young and up and coming team. Good coach. In a very winnable conference in the Pac-12. They get DJU, who is by no means a star quarterback, but he's very serviceable. I mean, he didn't play bad at Clemson by any means. It just wasn't up to Clemson standards. But obviously, Oregon State standards are very different. So I think he's very serviceable. With him, the top 10 defense, they're not horrible recruiters. I mean, they get guys. You get some dudes in the transfer portal. So I think they're a sleeper team. Most people have them in like the tail end of the top 20 and top 25. I think if DJU comes in and plays pretty good, they can definitely make a push for a fringe top 10. No playoffs or anything, but no winnable conference with a decent schedule. I think they could definitely make some noise.
All right, Vinay, or do you want to give someone you think is going to be surprisingly bad next season, or are you good? You good?
Oh yeah, surprisingly bad. I'm kind of tempted to say LSU. Frankly, they're losing guys. They have talented young guys on the roster, but you're losing your top receiver in Booty, who just did not really get along, who really just did not get along with Jaden Daniels. I'm not extremely high on Jalen Daniels.
Bro's mind is somewhere else right now. Dang. All right, continue. Sorry.
I'm not extremely high on Daniels, but they ended that season kind of rough. I mean, we all hyped them up a lot, but they were still like 10-4, 9-4. Like, still lost quite a few games there. So I think LSU might crumble a little bit. Nothing like horrendous, but another 4-loss season is definitely.
All right, I would actually have to disagree with you there, Sam. It's really funny you say that. I was actually going to have LSU on one of my sleeper teams for next year. I mean,
okay,
yeah,
it's possible. Maybe I'm just a hater.
I don't know. I think Jaden Daniels. I saw him play here in the swamp, front row, 50-yard line. And that man is kind of a dog. I was in his ear all night, but that didn't get to him. And very few people can kind of do that and set my trash talk to the side. So I have a lot of respect for him, and he looked like a dog out there. I don't know. That team is just so it's honestly hard to predict. I just think they're going to be.
Well, they start the year against my Seminoles, so we'll see then. That'll be a tone setter.
Yeah, I guess we will see. But they're also getting a ton of really good guys from the transfer portal. I don't think they're losing that much now.
No, they have a chance, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's not a lot of teams that I look at in the top, 10 or so where it would be surprising if you were bad. There's just not a lot of teams I look at and you're like, well, that I would be shocked if they did bad. So LSU would probably pick.
I don't know.
But, I mean, you guys, it's up in there.
And just because I'm a Gator, I think the team that won't necessarily do bad, but won't do as well as people are hyping them up to be right now is the Florida State Seminoles. I've seen a lot of people on social media say that the Seminoles are, and they're way too early rankings. They have the Seminoles at 3 or 4. I think you and I can both agree that's kind of blasphemy, Sam.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's 4th, but I don't think that's a consensus ranking. I think that's a few people at ESPN who are getting ahead of them. So
247 Sports too, but yeah, I mean,
that's a little high. I agree.
I don't know. I think even if you were to take the average person's ranking of what they thought FSU would be, mine would be lower. Is kind of my point.
I would say it'd be in the mid-teens. I'm on record saying that I think they should be 15 through 20. So
yeah. I guess we're in agreement there. I don't know. I just don't really trust Mike Norvell. I know they're doing well.
My record prediction. I'll reiterate this, but my record prediction for them next year is. I believe 11-2, and they do win the conference, but I do believe we lose to LSU. So I'll keep that on record now. I have us losing to FSU in that opener, or LSU in that opener.
You have y'all 11-2 though.
I think that math is right. Maybe it's 10-2, but something with a conference championship and losing to LSU in the first week. I'll review the schedule and as we do more specials.
Yeah, we have plenty of not off season, but off season to get through that. Ron and Vinay, do y'all have any sleeper teams or?
You can go first.
I don't know. I like to see. I actually agree with Sam in this because I was going to mention the DJ Uiagalelei transfer, which in my opinion is going to go under the radar. We're going to see a lot of improvement. His measurables, just as a fan watching his game, you could tell that he had all the talent. His measurables are off the charts, and I think in another situation, he's primed to flourish. I actually have a few friends and family that go to Oregon State, so they are fingering that pulse and
hop on the bandwagon now.
Yeah, the hype is there, so I believe in it. It's tough that they beat the Gators, though. Underrated.
Clemson would be a great pick for surprisingly bad. I don't know. Now you mentioned DJU.
Yeah. I was just about to say my whole thing was centered around him.
That's a good take.
Clemson, on the other hand, are going to sink. I'm here for the Dabo Swinney downfall. What can I say? I just can't really support that team anymore. A lot of underwhelming performances in big games throughout the seasons, and I'd expect more of it down the road.
So we're not on the Cade Klubnik wave. I don't know if I am either.
I don't think I'm not on it yet. I gotta see it. I gotta see it.
I wasn't super impressed with what I saw in the bowl game, but you never know. Okay, Ron, do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a prediction for a team that's going to exceed anyone's expectations, just because I don't really know that much about teams around the sport. But a team that I think right off the gate that's not going to perform, just based off a precedent in the sport, is Georgia. Has a team won 3 back-to-back championships ever? Has that happened before?
I think it has, but not for a long time.
Not in the playoff area, though. So not in
the playoff area, right? So there's only a handful of teams that can go back-to-back, which is an achievement in itself. And Georgia deserves to be applauded for that. Just based on past precedent, I don't think that's going to happen. And then you could be like, oh, what are you saying?
No.
Georgia's not making the Natty next year.
I'm pretty sure you're just saying that because you said Georgia should be applauded for that. And we can never.
There's no reason for us to applaud them. Okay?
I mean, yeah, of course. Like, obviously, as a Gators fan, like we don't like them, but all right, yeah, I'm not going to say more than that. But yeah,
all right,
Georgia's not winning the Natty next year. That's my early prediction.
Okay.
All right, so I believe that wraps up our CFP or college football section for today. We got some great topics. I mean, the offseason is going to be super fun. Way too early, top 25, transfers, recruits, rankings, predictions, all that stuff. And we'll keep you updated. So keep tuning in for our football talk all summer long and all spring long, really, because we got spring camps too. But let's move into the NFL playoffs this weekend. A lot of good news. Probably most pressing right now. Lamar Jackson, most likely not going to play. Hasn't practiced in over a month. Hasn't played in about 6 games, I believe. Ravens are 2-3 without him. So with his contract coming up this season, do you guys believe that Lamar has played his last game in a Ravens jersey? Vinay, I'm going to go to you on this one. What do you think?
Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts on Lamar's situation right now in the offseason. I'm not particularly too high on the fact that he's his own agent. I respect it. It is a tough job to be completely, unbiased and biased at the same time towards decisions. But I think that, they're probably going to throw the franchise tag at him, but I don't see anything more than that.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Just because Lamar's not going to budge, and, he's representing himself, so you really have to convince him. And it just doesn't seem like he's been that convinced throughout this season. It's all been kind of hushed. You hear John Harbaugh talking about it, the fact that he has no idea what Lamar's status is the week of a massive wildcard playoff game where his status is in question. You hear that from the coach. Not the same John Harbaugh-Lamar connection and endearment that we've seen throughout their heyday when they went 14-2. I just think there's too much mud in the water. He's gone. Franchise tag is what they're going to throw at him, and he's not going to waive his no trade clause for that.
Yeah. What do you guys think, Michael? Roma?
I don't know. I think I agree with a lot of what Vinay said, but I don't know. There's a lot of smoke for Lamar to a bunch of different teams, and I don't know. I think there is some validity to the smoke. I mean, like, as a fan of like Lamar's game, I am hoping that he goes to another team just because I want to see what he can do in a different style of offense. I think that'd be super interesting. I wonder, like, how he can change, like, the receivers around him, just the whole scheme of, like, a completely separate type of offense. I'm not really sure whether it'll happen or not. I haven't heard too much from, like, reliable sources on, like, whether he's inclined to stay or leave Baltimore. But
nothing's really gotten out, and there's been no leaks, so it's been really kept under wraps.
Yeah, it's hard to predict for sure, but I don't know. Also, if he does end up leaving, does this definitely mean the Ravens are going to pursue a quarterback in the draft? I mean,
Lamar is their entire offense right now. That's the thing.
Yeah.
The Ravens' offense is entirely centered around Lamar. And you see that because they put a bunch of...
Roland, what do you think?
Like,
oh, sorry.
No, yeah, I was just going to say, they put a bunch of, quarterbacks that are similar-ish to Lamar, but none of them can execute it like he can.
He's different.
Tyler Huntley, Anthony Brown.
Yeah.
Lamar's just that much better. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, with that, repeating what everyone said, I agree. I don't think, Lamar's going to stay a Raven for too much longer. I think, he finds a comfortable home somewhere else and, can, move forward with his career. But, yeah, I don't see him staying with the Ravens anymore.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with all you guys. I think it would be an interesting offseason. With that, Bucs Cowboys Monday night should be one of the more interesting wild card games, definitely. So I want to ask you guys, this is basically just really a quick question. We don't really got to go too crazy on it. There's not too much to be said. Do we think the Bucs will pull off the upset, even though they're at home? It would still be an upset over the Cowboys. Does Brady pull off the upset here and keep his Super Bowl hopes alive?
Me personally, I don't think so. By watching Tom Brady this season, and watching Tom Brady during the first quarter versus the Falcons was kind of disappointing. Honestly, like didn't really show that he is capable of winning a first round playoff game. At his age, but Vinay has taught me never this kind of a goat of a sport. So Tom Brady can obviously pull something out of the bag and carry the Bucs to a win. But I don't. If Tom Brady was playing like he was playing last week, I don't see him making out of Tampa with a win.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to ask y'all to remind me, what team did the Cowboys lose to most recently? That was like pretty bad.
The Washington Commanders.
Yeah. I think this can kind of validate the claim and the narrative that the Cowboys are, I don't know, pretty big frauds like Vinay kind of initiated earlier in the season.
They may go to the NFC Championship game, so I cannot.
You think so?
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, yeah, but I don't know. I personally think the Cowboys are kind of frauds. I think if there's anyone that could do it, it's Tom Brady. I don't know. Like, this could very easily be a game where he just picks apart that defense, just does whatever he wants to the air. And I don't know. I don't know how likely that actually is to happen just because, he is a lot older. The Cowboys are a very talented team. I also wondered what kind of game we'll get from Michael Parsons. I mean, he hasn't really been super amazing in recent shouts in recent games. So,
Agreed.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I think the Bucs can definitely do it. Are they likely to? Not so much. I think this is like a 60-40 for me in favor of the Cowboys.
Yeah. It's hard for me to envision the Cowboys beating the Bucs, seeing as they've never done it before in the Tom Brady era. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fire stat.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady's undefeated against the Cowboys.
That is a good stat. I was thinking about that earlier. That is great. Yeah, he is 0-7 all time.
Yeah, I mean, he is undefeated against the Cowboys. It's the playoffs where you favor a heightened version of Brady. He elevates in the playoffs. That being said, I'm picking the Cowboys. It's simply because that defense is going to step up. Micah, DeMarcus, Trayvon. That defense, they've been up and down all year, but I think Dan Quinn has a master class. He gets after Brady, and we see him fade into the sunset. But it was a good run, Brady. It was a good run.
Yeah, I don't think Brady's done in the league. Frankly, I think he's going to play next year. But I think I'm going to be the one who sides with the GOAT here. I'm going to take the Bucs. He has never lost to the Cowboys. I don't think he's going to start now in the playoffs. Basically, he definitely covers the spread. I think they win. It's Tom Brady in the playoffs. I just can't bet against the guy. It's too hard. That's a good clip there. That's good topic though. We're going to see on Monday. We'll definitely talk about it next week.
You said
this question is.
Wait, sorry. You said you think they definitely cover?
I think they definitely cover the +3 spread.
Oh, okay. I think now it's at +2.5, but.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. When I saw it, when I took it,
I would take them.
It was at +3.
I would take them +3
Whatever.
as well. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a good game. Now, this is frankly one of the most interesting questions I've been seeing recently. A lot of debates as the two teams are playing each other. Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Herbert, two extremely good young and upcoming QBs. Chargers versus Jags in Jacksonville for the wild card. Who are you guys more confident in going into this game? And I guess if you want to take the topic this way, who do you like more as a quarterback, Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence? Me personally, the Justin Herbert versus Tua debate was fun, but I think he really takes his game to another level. He proved to me in that game I wanted the Dolphins to take him, by the way, just prefacing this now before I go in. I did want back in 2020 for them to take Herbert over Tua. Didn't get my wish, it's whatever. But he really proved to me in that game that he's just a top-tier quarterback. Trevor Lawrence may very well be on his way ascending to that level, but he's not there yet. Justin has done this year after year for 3 years now, and they're both in their first playoff games. With a healthy Keenan Allen and I believe Mike Williams playing, we'll see Austin Eckler, a healthy defense that is ascending. I'm going to take the Chargers in this game, but I'm also going to take Justin Herbert over Trevor Lawrence straight up. I think Trevor Lawrence is becoming slightly overrated. He's having a good year, but a rough few weeks. But I like Justin Herbert in this QB matchup. What about you guys? Michael, what do you think? Let's start with you.
If you were to ask me this a few years ago, a couple of days before the draft, I would say Trevor Lawrence. Coming out of college, I like Trevor Lawrence more, is my point. I thought he was an insane NFL prospect, literally like the perfect pro-style NFL quarterback. Really did not think there was any flaws to his game. I mean, the guy won 40-something straight college football games, right? I think he also went undefeated in high school, which is also absurd, but I don't know.
Yeah, his record is 126-22 all time, high school, college, and NFL all combined. I saw it yesterday. It was 126-22, roughly, somewhere around that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But I don't know. If you're talking right now, I'd probably get Justin Herbert for the same reasons you gave Sam. I'm in a pretty big agreement. I think Herbert has had more success at the pro level than Trevor Lawrence. Yes, we've seen a lot of promise and a lot of improvement from T-Law this season. Is it enough to say that he is higher on my list than Justin Herbert? I would say no. I personally have Herbert as the third best quarterback in the NFL, and I don't have Trevor Lawrence close to my top 5. So,
agreed.
Yeah,
I'm with you there.
That's kind of how I see it.
I mean, I don't really have much to say beyond, I agree with everyone. So, without, complicating the matter, Justin Herbert over T-Law on the playoff game and overall as well.
Yeah, in my opinion, this is not even close. I think Justin Herbert's a Tier 1 quarterback, and Lawrence is still working his way up from Tier 3 to Tier 2, which is respectable. That's above average play, but this is not a debate for me.
Didn't you say that Justin Herbert was your early, MVP pick or something?
Yeah, before
he was a lot of people's MVP picks. That wasn't a hot take coming into the year. Everyone wanted him, and the Chargers were the hot pick to make the Super Bowl because of how good Justin Herbert's been playing.
That is true.
I mean, that's just the way it's been.
All right, let me ask you one more follow-up question to that, though. If you were a betting man, hypothetically, would you take Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence to be the better quarterback in the NFL 5 years from now?
They're both very young. I'm still taking Herbert. I mean, he's it's not like this guy is 30 and exiting his prime. He will very well be in his prime in 5 years. And I mean, let's not overcomplicate this. I still got as long as I keep putting the weapons around him like we have now. Justin Herbert is a phenomenal talent. Trevor Lawrence is on his way up with a good coach. But 5 years from now, I still believe Justin Herbert will be the top 5 quarterback in the league. I probably have him 4th on my list. I know you mentioned that he was 3rd on yours. I'll put Joe Burrow slightly ahead of him still. But whatever. I mean, those two are so interchangeable. But we can both agree that he's above Lawrence, at least right now. I think he will be in 5 years, though.
Yeah, I don't know. But like earlier you said, Herbert has a lot more at his disposal in that offense, right? Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. Like, I don't know. They have.
Yeah. Lawrence will have it next year. He'll have Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne. These are all great weapons. I mean, Evan Ingram has had a resurgence in his offense.
I guess.
So we'll see. This debate will definitely be fun. Well, I think we'll be having this pretty much every year from here on out. This will be a great matchup.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I love watching both of them play. Y'all have any thoughts on who you think is going to be better in 5 years?
5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Herbert.
So much can happen in 5 years. We've seen great quarterbacks have like an amazing start to their careers, like Herbert, and then fiddle out immediately. Like I can't even imagine in a quarterback business. This is an impossible question.
Yeah, it is really hard to predict and see. There's so many moving factors, so many moving pieces. But yeah, I don't know. I honestly might take Trevor Lawrence just because I was kind of a fanboy watching him.
It's very possible.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, you want to go to the final question, Sam?
No, I mean, I think we're good here. As we move into soccer, I'm going to turn this over to Rohan and kind of let him take the lead. He's our main soccer guy that I go to for my bets and information because he hits them on unreal streaks. So, Rohan, you take the soccer segment away.
Well, yeah.
Wait.
That was really flattering, but
We have one more question in the NFL segment, I think.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, just one more. Do you want to ask it real quick?
Oh, yeah. Go for it, yeah.
Yeah.
My bad, guys.
No, you got it. You got to ask it.
Who, with a lot of good matchups this weekend other than the ones that are injury-ridden, who do we think is the most likely home favorite, or just the favorite in general, because I know the Chargers are favored on the road. Who's the favorite that's most likely to lose? Just a quick rapid-fire round. Me first, it's not the hot take, but the Cowboys, like I just said, I think they're the home favorite that's going to lose. Rohan, what do you think?
Yeah, but the Cowboys are away, though.
Oh my God! Yeah, you're right. Never mind.
Bro,
I think that Vikings. Giants beat the Vikings.
yeah, I was actually about to say the Vikings as well. I think the Giants come up there and cause a scene, and Giants come out of there with the win.
That's 3. I'm also going to be placing my vote for the Vikings.
Danae?
Yeah, I gotta say the Bucs. I sided with the Cowboys.
Well, oh my God! Yeah, God.
The Bucs are fraudulently home favorites because they are fraudulent.
Yeah, no, you're right. Well, they're just a favorite, but they're just at home.
No, but I'm saying like.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
They shouldn't be a home team.
They shouldn't be a home
Yeah,
team. Yeah,
Should be home playoffs.
Yeah. All right.
With that, let's transition to the actual sport that's called football, but it's called soccer in America. Still have an issue with it, but let's carry on. With a little bit of transfer news, João Felix, Portuguese star from Atletico Madrid, makes a surprise loan move to Chelsea for the rest of the season. Real quick, Vinay, do you think he's going to help Chelsea, fight their European competition?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a team who loaned him for a select amount of games. They need to get out of a rough patch. They got desperate. They signed him. Now, with this, he might be missing multiple games. That's cutting into their value.
Yeah, I mean, look, Chelsea literally played Fulham earlier today and lost 2-1. João Felix got a red card as debuted. Not the greatest start to his Chelsea career. Do I see them even making the top 6, top 7? I see them, if they do make European competition, they go Conference League. I don't see them going past that. But, does it really come down to the player? Does it come down to the manager? Which kind of transitions to my next segment. With a lot of transfer news, there's also a lot of news surrounding managers and where they will end up at the start of next season. Thomas Tuchel, Zinedine Zidane are some of the ones that are kind of leading the charge in that debate. So, just like an overall question, wanted to pose to everyone. What do you think is the most important role of a manager? How does that role affect the players on match day during a match? What is the manager role during a match? let's say, for example, you're down 1-0, what does the manager do there? And how effective is that manager? And do you think it matters more, is the manager more important? Is the player more important? Sam, we'll start with you. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm as much as I did enjoy, casually watching the World Cup, and I casually watch big matches, Champions League, and all that. From what I'm not as in touch with the game as some of you guys are, but from what I do observe, and just from knowledge of sports, I did play a lot of soccer, coming up a lot of travel. But when I see a manager, it's just someone who can keep his guys in line. I guess make sure they're motivated and they're staying in line, they're disciplined, no stupid penalties, stuff like that. But also just making timely substitutions and the timely in-match adjustments to counter, the game plan of the other team. Just timely changes like that, timely audibles to put the team in the position to win or come back. In your case, I think that's the role of a manager, is that sometimes a player can't quite do. A manager's watching the game from afar, and they can make quick changes on the fly to help the team put them in a better position to compete.
Michael, what about you? Do you think on the day of the match, during that 90 minutes, do you think the player is more important, or is the manager more important?
Well, I think the players are who they are because of the manager, right? Like, I think that without the manager, you have no cohesive team with chemistry, right? The manager has to bring the team together, like Sam said, and make sure that everyone is on top of their game, right? Because if there's no manager, then you have to kind of rely on self-discipline and self-training. So I think obviously, for me, this is just kind of clear that the manager is more important than the players. Obviously, the players have to show up and be in the right mindset, but the best way to do that is by having a manager. And also, on game day, how else are you going to make universal changes across the pitch, right? During halftime, you have to have someone who understands the game and is seeing it from a third-person perspective. Because when you're on the pitch, sure, you see things that the manager might not be able to see, but vice versa is also true, if not more true, in my opinion. I think the manager sometimes can see things almost from a bird's eye view that the players might not necessarily be able to. And for me, I think that the manager is probably more important than the players, although the players do have to just do their role and stay disciplined themselves during the match.
Vinay?
Yeah, I mean, interesting to think about Rohan. He just said, in the 90 minutes of a match, who do you think is more important? I think we all respect Jose Mourinho, legendary coach. He said it best when he said, once that whistle blows, he sits back. He can't do anything. It's up to the players to see the windows, the channels, the vision. And it's up to him to direct them to see that. But on the pitch, he can't do that for them. They have to execute it. So that's just a quote that came to mind when this question was brought up. And that's why I say the players, during the 90 minutes, they have to execute, no matter what the tactics may be.
I mean, yeah, I have to agree with Vinay here. I mean, you can talk tactics, you can talk whatever you want before the match, but once the whistle blows and you're alone on the pitch with 10 other people trying to score, tactics don't really matter at that point where you're literally fighting for the ball, fighting for the goal, and fighting for your team. I can put myself in the position of a player on a team in a top European setting, and when you're in the game, yeah, you do what the manager tells you to do, but it's up to you to do it. The manager, like Vinay said, is not going to do it for you. And while the manager can make audibles and make substitutions, at the end of the day, the players are still the ones that are scoring the goals and keeping the manager in their job. So for me, I think the manager is not as important as players, but that does not go to say that managers they do play an important role in the game. Like Sam said, making those tough calls, encouraging the team, and making sure they cross the finish line, giving them the helping hand on the sidelines. But another question on the topic of managers, because there's so much news happening around the world. Teams are fighting for the best managers, support them and help them in their individual goals to success within their individual leagues or in their European competitions or in their country competitions, which kind of begs the question. This is a head scratcher for me because there's just so many fantastic managers out there. I wanted to pose this question to the group. Current, present, dead. It could be an up-and-coming manager in the future. When it's all said and done, who do you think is the best manager in the world? I'll pose the question to Vinay first.
Well, with respect to Johan Cruyff, I have to go with Sir Alex Ferguson. You know, that guy went on a legendary run. 13 Premier League titles. Crazy. Multiple Champions League titles. I mean, the guys he did it with, legends, right? Because he molded them. You've seen what he did with so many stars. Wayne Rooney, Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, the player coaching is obvious. And then the toughness that he instills on the team. You hear what Gary Neville talks about, obvious. You know, he checks every box. And to me, he's up there with the Nick Sabans of the world. I equate him with Saban in the way that he was able to build such a dominant program for so long in the toughest league on the planet. And, you know, I have trouble saying anyone over Sir Alex.
Michael, what about you?
I'm going to go with Pep Guardiola. My answer is pretty simple. It's what he's done recently, or I guess with Barcelona, he's gotten Messi to be help him along the way to be the greatest player of all time. Right? We agree Messi's the greatest player of all time. He doesn't do that without a world-class manager. Right? Now he's on Man City looking to win the Champions League title. He is pitching really, really amazing games, I think. I don't know. I think that Man City is, out scheming a lot of teams. I know they had that bad loss recently, but I think for the most part, they have a really good shot at winning the title. And I don't know. I think his record with Barcelona speaks for itself. That's my answer.
Sam, what about you? Any takes on that?
You know what, Rohan, I'm gonna just agree with you. I'm also gonna take Jose Mourinho because, frankly, he's the only one of those I know by name. And even with any research I've put into this, I do not know enough about soccer coaches and managers to make a fair take that would not sound stupid or uneducated. So he's the only one of those guys I really know, and he has done a lot of great things out there on the pitch. So if you're taking him, he must be pretty good. I'm gonna roll with you on that one.
Yeah, fortunately, we are in agreement. I am taking Jose Mourinho as the best manager in the world.
I mean, first off, let's just establish that the objective answer is Sir Alex Ferguson. It's widely agreed.
Okay, yeah. Sir Alex Ferguson won 13 titles in a row.
No, it's widely agreed. Come on now.
I mean, all right, we can get to the. I want to talk specifically more about Pep Guardiola before I talk about Sir Alex Ferguson. Obviously,
Wait, you haven't even made your case yet.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make my case as I talk about Pep Guardiola real quick.
Sure.
So obviously Pep Guardiola and Jose Mourinho have had their past, they're bitter rivals, but at the end of the day they share their mutual self-respect for each other, and for their jobs on the sidelines. But let's talk a little bit about their trophy cabinets, what they've accomplished. Jose Mourinho, I believe he has 2 Champions League titles, one with Inter Milan, one with Chelsea. Michael, how many Champions League titles does Pep Guardiola have?
Let me guess.
Yeah,
It's 0.
exactly. And how many times has he gotten to the Champions League final?
Let me guess.
Yeah.
0.
No, actually once last season with Manchester City, and they lost to Chelsea. And to have the funding that he does across all the teams that he's managed for in Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and Manchester City, to sign top class players like Messi, Haaland, Lewandowski, etc., and to not win the Champions League and to only qualify for the Champions League final once. I think they actually qualified twice. Once with Bayern Munich. Was that the one that they lost in first tour? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so twice. Qualify for the Champions League final twice and lose both of them with the amount of funding that you have. To me, no amount of tactics can help you at that point when you're just not creative enough to beat teams with the amount of budget that you have.
Who has more wins all time?
I can't tell you. I don't know.
Pep Guardiola.
Actually?
I'm just making that up.
Okay, yeah. So that's the thing. I don't know.
No, but
and that honestly isn't a good metric either. Judging, basically off of my opinion, the variety of different clubs that.
So why is UCL titles the best metric?
Because UCL titles are arguably the most coveted, most prized, and probably the most challenging trophies to win in Europe, and Europe is the place to be.
So wait, Jose Mourinho hasn't had funding similar to what Pep Guardiola has?
I would disagree completely.
Nowhere close.
I would say nowhere. Yeah, nowhere close. I would say
Man United didn't even let him buy Harry Maguire.
Exactly.
I don't know why they caved in the end after firing him.
Yeah. So if they can invest 80 million euros for a coveted center back in the day, we all know how he turned out. But if a club that Jose Mourinho manages can give him 80 million to sign, a rising star center back, that just goes to show that a club like even Manchester United, like it just goes to show that he's done more with less.
But I just have to say, trophies aside, we have to acknowledge that Pep has created one of the most iconic and attractive brands of football on the planet. I mean, it's insane, and he brought it to Man City. I mean, watching Man City is painfully like admirable because of the way they slice through teams. Oftentimes, teams I'm rooting for to upset them. I just see them get slaughtered by Pep's brand of football, which I mean is devastating. Let's be honest.
I mean, yeah, it is devastating. But
Mourinho's brand can be accused of at times.
I mean, he invented Park the Bus, and that was on full display in Manchester United. And
the Park the Bus, that doesn't make any sense.
I mean, y'all did get to the Europa League final, right? With those tactics.
Dude, come on now.
And you won.
Yeah, sure, but let's be honest here.
I mean, I don't think it matters how beautiful the passes are, the flair, like how much flair there is in the game. What matters is the final result, right? Like if I score 2 shitty penalties on FIFA and I still win the game, that's all that matters because I still get plus 3 points over you, for example, right? That translates over to real life as well. It doesn't matter how they play. All that matters is if it's how they win, that's how they win.
Well, I wouldn't completely agree with that argument. I mean, we're debating who the better manager is, right?
I mean, yeah, but you see that whenever Jose
Who's
Mourinho
changed the
manages
game more? Who's changed the game of soccer more?
I don't think Pep Guardiola or Jose Mourinho has had.
No. Pep has had a fundamental impact. Think about it. Mikel Arteta, his pupil under Man City, has Arsenal at the top of the league right now. And look at the brand of soccer they're playing. Very similar to Man City. It's Pep's school. His school is starting to become a legacy. It's like Nick Saban again.
I mean,
Also, you have to say that's a direct thing. It's widespread change throughout the football world.
Yeah, I also ask you one question. How many GOATs has Jose Mourinho helped develop?
I mean, Jose Mourinho has managed some incredible players like Ronaldo, Ibrahimovic. I could go on.
But wait, who's the GOAT though?
I mean, just because Pep Guardiola signed to manage a team that Messi was on does not mean that he helped Messi become the GOAT.
So if Messi has a bad manager,
Messi has a bad manager right now, dude. I don't even know who the manager of PSG is right now, but he's still the GOAT.
Well, that's not my point. My point is you're saying that if Messi had a crap manager, he would still be where he's at today, regardless?
Obviously, I'm not saying that. I'm not arguing that Jose Mourinho is a fantastic... not Jose Mourinho. Pep Guardiola is a fantastic manager. I would definitely, love him to, manage Juventus, if that possibility does, arise. But let's look at the facts here, right? I mean, I'm gonna backtrack here because I kind of lost my train of thought. Your point was that Jose Mourinho helped Messi become, develop and become a GOAT, right?
Pep Guardiola.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's fine. Player development is a part of coaching, and we can say that Pep Guardiola is good at player development. I'll concede that Pep Guardiola is good at development, but without talking too much in circles here, I still don't think that that outweighs what Jose Mourinho was able to do on multiple different teams with multiple different levels of funding, and the amount of success he has across the board in different leagues. Jose Mourinho has been a little bit of disappointment, and the Champions League just goes to show that he's not able to be that highly on my rankings. Do you have anything? Anyone have anything else to wrap up on real quick?
I mean, I have
you go.
a counterpoint. Is your metric for Jose Mourinho being the best that he did the most with the least?
I mean, compared to what Pep Guardiola has, yes.
But I mean, because if we want to be relative, the Cooper City Cowboys boys U12 soccer coach, in my opinion, did more with less with that soccer team than any of these big stars, right? If that's the metric, then he's the best manager of all time. And we haven't even heard of him, right?
All right, I'm just gonna. But hey, do you have anything to say?
I mean, that's definitely an interesting analogy for sure. Let us know in the comments, if that swayed you.
Yeah, I mean, also, by the way, if the Cooper City Cowboys, manager wants to hit me up and we can have this discussion, leave a comment down below. I'll be more than happy to hit you up.
You heard it here first. Rohan has beef with the manager of the Cooper City Cowboys.
All love. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up, my segment on soccer. Leave your comments down below who you think the best manager in the world is.
Sam, you want to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, but just before we move on to the bets, I mean, I was kind of going to say the point that you were getting towards, Michael. I mean, I don't know if there's a real one answer to this question. I feel like there's so many coaches. I mean, soccer's so global that there's so many coaches spread out across so many different leagues. It just depends what metric you're going. I'm sure you could throw a lot of coaches in with some superstar rosters and see what they do. And there's also coaches who are doing more with less. It's just whatever metric you want to go by. I don't think we'll ever really know the answer. I think the greatest and the best are obviously two different things, and I think maybe there we can get a good answer. But it's just a metric. I like seeing guys who can do more with less, but that's just my personal opinion. But there's really just so many answers that you could go with here. And there's so many good arguments for both. I don't know if we'll ever really get to the bottom of it, frankly.
Yeah, I agree. The world's a big place, and soccer is the world sport, and there's managers at every level. So, to that point, I agree. But yeah, again, let us know what you think, and also let us know some more questions you would like us to discuss on the podcast. We're always looking for suggestions, things to talk about, and yeah, we'd love to hear what you guys think. And yeah, with that covers pretty much all of our content. But we're gonna transfer over to our best bet segment, where we will talk about our locks of the week and kind of recap what we talked about last week. Last week was not the best week for me. I went 1 for 3.
Last week was my best week, definitely.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, I went 1 for 3. My lock of the week was on the City Chelsea halftime full-time result. I correctly predicted a draw/City result at plus 400. So if you took my lock of the week suggestion, you made some pretty good cash. But I did lose on the Foden anytime goal scorer and the total cards over 4.5. Foden was just not able to do anything. And then once, Pep Guardiola brought on Riyad Mahrez, it doesn't really help my case in the manager debate. But that was a pretty good decision, and Manchester City ended up winning. And total cards over 4.5. Yeah, everyone seemed pretty well behaved. Nothing really to comment on there. But with these bets, I would like to go 3 for 3 this coming week. So the games I'm going to be talking about are Manchester United versus Manchester City on Saturday at 7:30 Eastern, and Juventus versus Napoli on Friday 2:45 p.m. Eastern. Really nervous in that game. But yeah, my first bet and probably the lock. No, actually not the lock, but is Marcus Rashford anytime goal scorer plus 450 versus City. They're playing at home. Marcus Rashford scored 2 goals in their cup win versus Charlton Athletic, I believe. And he's just been on a tear. The last few times I've taken him, he hasn't disappointed me. And, I love him. I think he's super shifty. And I think he has something to prove versus Manchester City. And, I think, that's a pretty good thing to take. The second bet I'm taking this week is on the Juventus game. It's going to be a halftime full-time result of a draw and Juventus winning plus 795. Hear me out here. I know the odds seem like it's not going to happen, but if you look at Juventus' last few games, we love to leave it late. We love to score past the 85th minute. I think we have the best defensive record in Serie A. Even though we're playing away, I don't think we crack under Napoli's pressure. I think we hold them to a draw at least in the first half. And hopefully we're up if our offense is able to do something. But with Chiesa on the field, I do think Juventus will pull out the full-time result. So yeah, that's my kind of prediction. Draw Juve halftime full-time result. And finally, Chiesa anytime goal scorer plus 350. Hopefully he's making his first start back after injury. Those are the rumors right now. And I just think he's going to be our main source of offense with Dusan Vlahovic on the bench. I think Angel Di Maria and Chiesa are going to provide a lot of offensive structure and offensive power, and I think he's going to be our clinical goal scorer that helps us win. So those are my 3 bets. My lock is the draw Juve halftime full-time result at 795, That's probably the one that I'm most believing in, even though that it has the scariest odds. But yeah, that's what I think.
Vinay just typed something on the laptop that I really agree with. Y'all can ponder on what that is in the comments. But yeah, this is a great take by Vinay. That's for another time. Okay. Also, I would like to say, please leave some ideas for punishments in the comments. Not just for us, but for Rohan, because he's going to go 0 for 3 this week.
Yes, you know,
I'm
willing to make a side bet with anyone that Rohan will go 0 for 3.
All right.
And add that to my best bets parlay.
Okay, before we go into the next best bet segment today, if I don't go 0 for 3, would you be willing to do like a play? Like, are you so confident I'm gonna go 0 for 3?
Listen, I'm adding it as a prop to my lock tonight.
Hey yo,
That Rohan goes.
I'm lining it at minus 300.
hey yo, minus 300.
Just so
Dude, so
everyone-
you're that confident Marcus Rashford's not gonna score versus City?
Oh shoot, man! I forgot that you took Man United lines. Okay, I forgot the side bet next week. Do not bet on Man U. I will take that bet and I will win, and my viewers will also win. All proceeds from Rohan's downfall go to my viewers. So, anyways,
All right, yeah. So just expect a Rohan 0-3. The only reason I'm saying that is because these odds are kind of crazy, like plus 450, plus 795, and plus 350. Like that is.
I only provide locks for my viewers.
Yeah, that is. You said that last week, but anyway.
I mean, my lock of the week was a hit. Just saying.
Okay. All right. Let's recap last week for me. It was pretty solid. I went 2 of 3. I have a question for anyone here. It's a little bit of trivia. Do we know how tall a basketball rim is off the ground?
11 feet.
No, not 11
Like
feet.
13 feet.
10 feet. It's 10 feet off the ground. Do you know what?
Jeez, come on, guys. Better than this.
Do you guys know what? Please convert feet to yards. Is my question. How many yards is 10 feet?
Oh yeah, let me just pull out my fucking calculator from my back pocket.
3.1? No, I could be so far off on that.
All right, it's 3.3333 because.
Okay, I was kind of right, but
Yeah. 10 divided by 3, but 3.333 yards is more than the number of yards that Quentin Johnston had in this abysmal performance versus the Georgia Bulldogs.
You went through all of that for that.
Keely Ringo locked him up. Do you know what Quentin Johnston's stat line was in this game? 1 reception for 3 yards. I am willing to say this to anyone. I could have gone out there and caught 1 pass for 3 yards. I don't care how good Georgia's defense is. All I need is like 1 or 2 decent blocks on Keely Ringo, and I could sprint to the sideline, get out of there, get 3 yards. I could do it in 1 game. I promise you.
Respectfully, you would not, bro.
Dude,
Respectfully.
Jalen Carter would
Alright, we're getting off track here.
Anyway, that was a huge W for me. I bet Quentin Johnston under 15.5 points. That was my first hit. The second was the loss. It was Duggan over 26.5 rushing yards. Kind of embarrassing considering that he had minus 38 rushing yards.
Yeah, why would you take that?
Yeah, because he
I
had.
didn't realize the sacks add up.
Yeah, first of all, I didn't know sacks counted against rushing yards in college football.
Yeah,
in the
don't listen
NFL,
to him, man.
in the NFL, they count against passing yards. But yeah, so that was my loss, and then my last one was a win as well. It was Georgia to cover the minus 13.5 point spread. I explained why in the earlier breakdown video. This could have been a 50-point spread, and they still would have covered. I don't even know I'm at a loss for words. It could have been a 57-point spread. They still would have covered. Like, I knew this was going to happen. Georgia was just too good. The SEC, it just means more. So now I'm 8 out of 12. I'm in second place behind Vinay. So this week, here are my locks. I'm taking the Siena Saints money line versus Niagara. And I just want to say shout out to Vinay for starting the cool name trend and go Saints. So that's why I took the Siena Saints. Just a gut feeling.
I mean,
He started a wave.
what's a better gut feeling than this? This is an obvious lock. You got a cool name, and the Saints are involved.
Yeah, and they're playing a literal waterfall. Like, how do you
Come
expect
on
them to
now.
win?
Do you remember when he told me to take the Buffalo Bulls money line? Like,
Oh yeah, I actually did research on the game. That's a whole separate.
Niagara without the
let's
falls
see
is
what we got.
very
Yeah,
underwhelming.
Niagara's about to fall to the CFC.
oh my god.
Second, Klay Thompson over 23.5 points. I checked Prize Picks. This line said 23.5 points. You wonder what he did his last 5 games? 29 points, 31 points, 54 points, 30 points, and 29 points for an average.
Only one of those games with Steph, though. Only one of those games with Steph in the lineup.
Yeah, but you know what? I think he's just been too hot. I mean, he's been shooting well from the field. He's been shooting well.
Sure.
He's been shooting well from 3. I think Steph sees that Klay Thompson has been on fire. He's going to feed him the ball, maybe more than he did previously this season. I think Klay Thompson goes over 23.5 points. My last pick is the Los Angeles Chargers to cover a -2 point spread against the Jaguars. This comes from our earlier conversation of I just think Justin Herbert is going to outclass Trevor Lawrence. That we already talked about it. I'm not going to go too much more in depth. I guess I'd say that's my lock of the week. But I don't. I guess that's my best pick.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a good week last week, 2 of 3. Hit on the lines, money line which was my lock of the week, and the emotional ties pick was the Dolphins money line. There was never a doubt except for the first, second, third, and fourth quarter where I doubted it the whole way, but we hit, and I did miss on TCU plus 12.5. That doesn't look like a very good pick right now, but just a heads up for our viewers, why I keep looking away. I'm live sweating Mavericks money line on my phone, because it is the last leg of my parlay, every one of which has hit. There's 15 seconds left in the game in double overtime, and the Mavericks are up 4. So, loving how that's going.
Okay, let's go.
How many legs is the parlay?
That was 6.
Wow.
Okay.
No. Sorry. The 6th one missed. This one was a 3-legger. Heat money line, Mavericks money line, and Cavaliers money line.
Okay.
Impressive, very impressive.
Late night.
But anyways, my picks for this weekend: Seahawks plus 10. That is an alternate spread, but I like it. The line, I think itself is at like 8.5, 9. So this is just one more back to give you the double digits worth. Brock Purdy in his first playoff game, Mr. Irrelevant. I think there's cause to hesitate. But my main sticking point here is that the 49ers have beaten the Seahawks twice already this year. And we all know it is extremely hard to beat the team 3 times in the same season, much less by 10 points or more. So I'm going to take Seahawks plus 10 there. Chargers -2, agreeing with Michael. We don't really got to sit on it. I've already been over this. Just trusting Herbert to do his thing and win. And then lastly, Bengals -8. This is my lock of the week. No Lamar, it seems like, and Huntley is questionable. He just practiced today for the first time. I feel better about this if Huntley doesn't play, but even if he does, I think the Bengals can cover -8 at home. So yeah, those are my 3 right there. I'm 6 for 12 so far, and we're going to make that 9 of 15.
Yeah, no. Definitely pulling for those to hit. Last week, things went pretty well. If you tuned into my bets, If you didn't, then I'm sorry. But Vancouver kind of sold. I picked them on a whim just because, I was curious what a Canuck was. And, curiosity pays off. That's all I know.
Do you know what a Canuck is now?
No, I don't. Frankly, because I don't care about the Vancouver Canucks. It's just a brutal reality. But this week I'm looking at Manchester United to beat Manchester City. Emotional pick, but I will be waking up at 7:30 a.m. for that, and I feel like I should get rewarded for that.
Facts, yeah.
We'll be pulling for that win. I actually took Mavericks money line tonight. Did not know that game was today while we were going to be recording, but I took that before, and so very nice that Sam provided that update because I guess I did not realize that game was so close, and I did not realize that game was right now.
Sam, any further update? Did they pull it out?
Yeah, they pulled it out. They were up 4 with about 15 seconds to go. Game just finished.
Wow.
Mavericks 119, Lakers 115, and double overtime. So your boy just won a cool $40-something bucks off of a little small, tiny parlay.
There we
This
go.
is like round money. Sorry, excuse my language, but
To both Sam
happens.
and Renee for getting their
Getting excited for the win here.
Exactly.
Should have put that on, but we do what we do. This is just a winning culture we're building over here.
I mean, literally, come on, guys. I literally just cashed a live best bet as soon as I said it. Like,
That's true.
these things just keep cashing, and if you don't hop on, just like right
It's
now.
just ridiculous over here. I mean, I know the record says 6-12, but if you flip around, it's 12 and if you flip it around, it's 12-6, and that means I hit 12 bets and only missed 6. So that's what it is.
Nah, enough of me gloating about my record. It's definitely going to go down because my last leg is Austin Eckler, first touchdown score against the Jaguars.
Dude, I was thinking about that.
I don't know. I'm just feeling, that meant Eckler is going to get loose on a questionable Jaguars run defense.
Actually, no. I was looking at Eckler 3 touchdowns or more.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
plus 1,200, which is crazy, but I don't know. I could totally see that.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's going to cook that defense.
Yeah.
It's a very suspect defense, and I
Yeah.
think the Chargers. Joey Bosa is playing, Williams is playing. It's going to get ugly, and Eckler's going to feast. So, yeah.
All right, yeah, with that, thus concludes our best bet section. Thanks so much for tuning in to our first in-person / virtual podcast. We hope you enjoyed this kind of setup, and if you want us to go back to the Zoom setup, let us know. It is a lot easier. So, but if you do enjoy this setup, seeing the 3 of us together and Sam on the screen, feel free to let us know. Also, like Michael reiterated before, please comment down below some punishments. These guys still have to do a punishment for losing the TSU wager. And also, if one of us goes over 3, what was I saying?
TSU. But that's
So
fine.
the TCU wager, and if one of us goes,
Drake fan, right?
a big Drake fan, and if one of us goes over 3, we do have to do a punishment. So we really would love for you to comment some punishments down below. Also, continue
A
to
little bonus news before we go. I'm sorry, I just got a breaking news notification that the Patriots have reportedly fired Matt Patricia from the offensive coordinator role. Just some NFL breaking news there
I
before
thought
we
you were going to
sign
say
off.
they fired Bill Belichick. I was going to be like, damn.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, some live news.
But,
and hold on.
he had
Oh,
to
right,
be
back to
fired.
what I was saying. See you guys too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we are 31 of 49 on our best bet segment. Some quick math.
That's kind of nuts.
That's better than LeBron's first.
That's a good percentage.
That's
I
better.
don't mind being
That's probably better. That's probably better than most models you'll find made by whatever other YouTubers
Definitely.
you were considering watching on your page. So instead of watching them, watch us. This is Hold Down the Fort. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends.
And leave some more debate questions down below.
Until next week.
Peace out.
Peace.